Hi there, I'm your host Celia, and welcome to RPG Horror Stories. Welcome back, everyone. I hope that you guys are enjoying the videos, and if you do, like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll tell you what, if you did all three of those, shit, man, you've got a nice cock. Massive donger, dude. Appreciate it. Now, RPG Horror Stories has a question for you. What do you do about possible metagamer min-maxer? Hey, everyone. Relatively new Dungeon Master here with a story to share and seeking advice. So I was running a homebrew campaign with friends. It was all going well until a player lost his character. This person, let's call him Yi, was not too disappointed about his lost character, and he was quite excited to try something new. He has to play a homebrew class called a Gun Witch. It was quite powerful in combat situations, dealing roughly 80 to 100 damage per round at level 5. I didn't really mind so long as everyone was having fun. Eventually, the party had an investigation quest in a town and decided to split up. Yi went with 2 other players and they encountered some enemies. There were 4 in total. As the combat began, Yi mentions to his teammates, "Guys, these guys have over 80 HP, we should run." Of course, the enemies did not have close to 80 HP, and this was not intended as a difficult encounter. I didn't say much at the time, but thought it was strange. He went in the initiative first and chose to dash away with all of his movement. This is despite the fact that he could move backwards while shooting. The enemies went next. They were ranged spellcasters, and they attacked Yi's teammates. A teammate went down, and then Yi and the other remaining player finished the remaining enemies with some difficulty. Unfortunately, the downed player was not healed in time and ended up dying. The player who died is quite angry at Yi and argues that Yi could have easily prevented her death, and Yi just attacked on turn 1. I am a little annoyed that he is potentially looking up stat blocks. There is some unresolved tension between the group. What should I do to everyone? So you've got a min-maxer who's probably either memorized stat blocks that are likely to appear in your campaign or is actively looking them up. Well, I can tell you one thing that you can do right now. Ignore the HP values. Just pretend that they don't exist. Just beat down the party. Just roll whatever fucking dice you want and just say random damage values. Just roll dice behind the DM screen and lie about it. But most of all, don't ever let Yi get the killing blow. I know, this might be controversial to say, but when you have a metagamer min-maxer who specifically chose a homebrew class because it's super fucking overpowered, and they're starting to actively ruin the gameplay by breaking that 4th wall and saying the stats that the monsters have, you really only have that one outlet. Is change the stats or ignore them entirely. And if he continues, well, you can just deny him kills entirely. Yep. That's worked for me in the past, so it'll likely work for you. It's also a lot more fun for some of the other players to not know the stats, even if they look it up, because it's homebrew with air quotes, but you know what I mean. Next story. So the player gambled away the party ship and got them killed because it was getting boring. A few friends and I were running a modified homebrew campaign loosely based on the rules of the Black Eye and the setting of the game FTL, Faster Than Light. Essentially, they were all part of a crew of a small starship, with everyone choosing their race, class, and position on the ship. You know, pilot, engineer, shields guy, weapons. The only part I wholly stole from FTL was that every part of the ship could be damaged individually. So an enemy vessel could specifically cause damage to weapons, which would need them to use their skills, repair kits, scrap, etc. to fix. I hooked the party with a little mystery about strange alien monoliths being found on new planets across the galaxy, causing people to go crazy. And off they went. I was the Dungeon Master for the campaign. and probably could have been a little more heavy-handed, but I didn't want to risk breaking the group's fun at the time. The first few sessions went very well, and everyone found their groove. We're all sci-fi nerds, so they had a lot of fun making call-outs like in Star Trek and role-playing bridge dialogue. The ship got upgraded, they installed new, more powerful weapons and such sort of things. They made a lot of progress in the main story as well. They were in the midst of defending a mining outpost which had one of the monoliths from a small squad of mercenaries, when a few bad rolls and an unintended combo in the enemy composition. Basically, the mercs had two fighters, which had very high evasion, and the player ship didn't have any point defense. It was mostly focused on taking out larger vessels, blah blah blah. That caused them to take way too much damage early on in the fight, and they were unable to carry on. So, they landed at the mining outpost. The engineer got to repairing the ship's damage. 2 crew members got out to explore. And the last went to pick up their reward from outpost administration. The last one was the problem player, Vic. Oh, I've only ever known Vics that were problems. And addicts, so nice start on that name. I hadn't had any real problems with him, but he was very invested in roleplay. His character was more on the edgy side. He was a veteran in the fleet and our weapons guy, and to cut him some slack, pretty good at sussing out the weaknesses of the enemy builds I'd thrown at them. But he was also very much a "it's what my character would do" kind of person. So we went to pick up the reward, which included a clue for the campaign. A video log showing the thieves at the monolith flying away alongside their ship registration, and he was returning when he suddenly sidetracked and asked me if there was a black market of some kind around here. I said, sure, because there was. Let him find a small roadhouse tavern by a cousin's uncle's nephew's branch family of a larger pirate clan. The place was tiny, just a bit of drug trade, a gambling ring, and some contraband. So I thought he was just being a bit edgy by mingling with smugglers and pirates, and let him. The other players did their thing, bought a souvenir, and rejoined the engineer to continue patching up the ship. But Vic was now full on gambling in a den of inequity. The others had no idea where he was, and his rolls were very bad, with disadvantage because the people he was with were cheats, obviously. So they spent a while trying to figure out where he was. He first lost the reward, then his character's money, and all the while I was hinting at the guys he was not being honest. But he just kept going. Eventually, crew did find him, but he had just bet their entire ship in a game of cards. And if they tried to intervene, they'd probably be gunned down by the entire hub. I'm gonna be honest, dude. It would be like super easy to just make up a random bullshit reason on the fly. Like, oh no, we don't match with Spacer's Choice type shit. And what I'm trying to say here is, this is partially on you because you absolutely did have a very clear spot where you could say no to gambling the ship, but you kept on because it was interesting for the story reasons, and there was a way to get it back after this. Whether they took the violent path and took it back, I don't know. Hopefully. You can save this later. He lost, of course, and the ship was gone. I probably should have put an end to it there, because the mood at the table was getting sour. But I improvised a grand theft spaceship side quest about stealing their vessel back and getting the fuck out of there. Night falls, the crew sneaks into the spaceport undetected, and is just about to board in secret when he pulls the I pull out my pistol and shoot the guard in the hand. I was unironically baffled at what the fuck he was doing. Like, he is trying to get everyone killed? Sure enough, the shot misses, and instantly the whole port's guard is shooting at the True, trying to be sneaky. They take some hits, and eventually get cornered in the engine room, where Vic deliberately shoots at the reactor core and causes the ship to explode, killing the entire party and destroying the spaceport, ending the campaign. The whole party is left fuming, except for Vic, who just goes, "Finally, now we can do something else." It turns out he was bored of the setting and decided to ruin it for everybody else for his own entertainment. I kicked him out after that, but we were out of energy by that point. I offered the rest of the party to roll back to the last session and ditch Vic from the group, but they declined because they felt it was ruined. That was about a month ago, and I'm still absolutely salty about it. Everyone seemed to have fun with it. The whole party got super into the RP aspect of space travel. I had a story planned out and everything, and then one freaking guy has to go and ruin it. Alright, I got you, OP. This is definitely a that guy scenario. This person was absolutely hell-bent on killing everybody instead of finding a new fucking group. He could have just brought something up with you in private. You're better off without him. There's nothing I can really say about this, because, honestly, my point earlier is very much moot now that I've finished reading the story. 100%, absolutely. If this guy was, like, watching the game and didn't like the setting, he would, like, fucking cheaty face himself in, or some fucking bullshit. If he was... If he provided any, like, Deus Ex Machina for the party, he would have just fucking shut it down instantly, killed everyone himself. If you ended up doing anything to save this campaign, even just God rang this fucking character into dust, he would fucking kill the fucking campaign. He was hell-bent on it, and there was nothing you could do about it aside from kick him from the party, but you didn't have a reason to kick him from the party until then. Well, unfortunate. This is like second time I've ever heard of this happening. You did handle it well. Good job on kicking him after he's pulled out his plot annihilation device. I do hope that you manage to have a better campaign later. That's it. That's all we have for today. Much love. Stay sexy. And I'll be playing Last Epic on Twitch later. We're leveling the Void Knack. It's having a lot of fun. And stay sexy.